www.SheilaMac.com today.
Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio, Mondays at 1 and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila. Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio, Mondays at 1 and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and today is a special Black Friday and my birthday sale and free presentation. So during this show, I am actually going to be donating to anybody listening. I will be donating extra books and courses from my website to women in shelters across the United States. So now take a listen. Here is Introduction to the Boots Formula for my birthday. In December of 2017, I lost my house, my car, and my cat due to a fire. It sounds like a country music song, but that was my reality, and yet another rock bottom situation after a long period of doing really well. I had just finalized a divorce, purchased a new car, and moved into a house that I bought for myself and one of my kids to live in while she went to college. I put all my savings into it, closed escrow on November 3rd, and spent some time making it beautiful, more for my kid than for myself. I was cash poor but proud to finally get into a nice home again. A month later, I had a late meeting with a client and was then called to check on an issue with a vacation rental cabin I was running up in the hills. I was frustrated with the delay, thinking, I'm so tired and I've been working so hard, I just want to go home to my new place and sleep. Later, I realized that delay was a protection, and I was grateful for the soul reroute, even if it was initially beyond my understanding. As I drove back, I saw the flames of the huge Thomas fire in Ventura that ended up burning for close to a month and spread over 280,000 acres. The hills near my house were burning. 20-foot flames leapt into the air, which was thick with choking black smoke and soot. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw the extent of the fire. As I got closer, I was told that I had to evacuate my home. I rescued my cat and got a few things together, but the power was already out, so I grabbed paperwork and pictures, anything I could shove into a box in the dark. Some of my neighbors were in denial, refusing to leave until the firefighters came through, issuing mandatory evacuations. They thought it was a little fire over in the hills. They hadn't been on my drive home. They didn't know it was one of the biggest fires in California history and the largest I'd ever seen in my life. I drove back to the little prefab mobile home that I was renting out through a vacation rental service. One of the units was empty, but it wasn't finished. It had a toilet and a kitchen, but it didn't have a shower or many of the other things it needed to make it livable. It was maybe 400 square feet, and that's where I unloaded all the boxes of stuff that were now my only earthly possessions. The next day, one of my friends came over to help me, and when she opened the door, the cat I had rescued ran out the door. She was so freaked out by the move that she just bolted and never came back. We couldn't find her, even with a microchip. Shortly after that, my car was totaled in an accident, and my descent to rock bottom was complete. By this time, I was able to get back into action in record time, using a formula I had learned from all the other waves in life. The Boots Formula. I've had an interesting life. It hasn't been easy, but I'm not complaining, and I'm not a victim. I've had a lot of rock bottoms, a lot of downs, but a lot of ups as well. Through it all, I had to learn how to go from rock bottom to rock solid. What has helped me walk through the bottom faster and still be who I want to be, without letting it totally screw up my life? Who did I need to be? I saw the patterns in all the times I've had to do that, and in how I've seen my friends and clients get through their rock bottom moments as well. I came up with the Boots Formula, a simple yet powerful method of redirecting your thoughts and actions. The Boots Formula will teach you the skills you need to quickly dissolve limiting beliefs and get back into action. In simple language, Boots will grab your problem by the bra straps and help you get back into action in any situation. Sound like something you can use? Let's take a look at each letter. B is for being. The first letter of the Boots Formula is B, which stands for being. At one point in my life, I decided this is who I'm being in all that I'm doing. When shift has hit the fan, you realize this is messy, and you just have to roll up your sleeves. Maybe you have other people to help you, but maybe you don't. Either way, you have to be the one in command. When you focus on the good parts of your life, those things that you can be grateful for in this moment, that energy will bring even more good things your way. Don't get me wrong. You still have to take the action steps to get out of the negative, and you're going to have times in your life when you're just going to have to do whatever's in front of you. It may not be the prettiest thing, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes, when you're focusing on getting out of a hole, it feels like you're buried in your own self-centric thinking. But when you get out of that mindset and put down your problem for a moment, it clears the way for a solution. One way to do this is to help someone less fortunate than you. Volunteering with your community, religious organization, school, or work, which allows you to fully show up, contribute, and utilize your unique talents. When you're using your flow, you're not thinking about the problem at hand. You're not showing up for approval. You're just being your best self. If you're showing up and being fully present, people will see your true essence and respond to that. Having that respite will open a floodgate of ideas and give you the resources to resolve any difficult situation you find yourself in. This first letter is a reminder to stay in your being and live your truth. It will help you stay grounded and centered when things are in a state of change and chaos. The truth is that there's often form, freedom, and order even in the center of a storm. The first O is for orientation. The next letter in the Boots Formula stands for orientation. As you are living through your rock bottom moment, you need to know that it's not better than it is and it's not worse than it is. It just is what it is. Assessing your current orientation is a really big action step in the Boots process. Discovering orientation is part of the overall change you may be in, and it will help you find some surprisingly simple solutions. In this case, we're referring to a place. Where do you find yourself on the map of your life? Within this stage, you'll also acknowledge where you were in the past and where you want to be. Once you know where here is, you can answer, how did I get here? And where do I want to go from here? Assessing your orientation also means considering your options and saying, I am here on the map, and I want to go over there. You need to know where you are in order to think about how to take the next step. If you want to go from California to New York, you first have to know you're starting from California. You then have to know that to get there, I can walk, I can swim, I can jog, I can take a flight, or I can take a bike. I can take a bus, or I can take a train. You use your rock bottom to set the direction for your life beyond this rock bottom situation. It's important that you are really honest about where you are in this situation. You can't lie because you don't want to give up your personal responsibility. You have to own every part of this and realize it could be worse. It could be better, but this is it. If you aren't able to be honest about where you're starting from, you won't be able to clearly see where you want to go or how to get there. If you're not realistic about that first point of orientation, it's almost impossible to get out of your rock bottom moment. At the very least, it will take a hell of a lot longer. A lot of people have a hard time accepting the truth of where they are. They might think, oh, I'm kind of here, but I wish I was there. No, this is where you are. This is where you're starting from. That may be where you want to go, but you won't get there if you don't know where you are on the map. The last piece of orientation is owning it. You are responsible for where you are now. The minute you start blaming people or situations outside of yourself, it was my mother's fault, my brother's fault, the weather's fault. Guess who's in control of your life? Everyone but you. When you own your situation, however, you're taking back your power. Damn, yes, I spent that money, or oops, I did trash the credit card, but I'm not going to blame Macy's or Nordstrom. I'm just going to have to do something different here. Nobody else gets to be in charge of your life. From here on, you own it. Once you've gone through the orientation process, you'll get a grounding sense of peace and clarity, and you'll be able to acknowledge just how far you've already traveled. Give yourself some credit. Admit that you may have messed up in one area, but also look at the good parts of where you are. Once you have to answer to, how the hell did this happen to me? Your next question is probably, how can I ever unravel this mess and get back into action? The next letter of Boots will help you answer that. The second O is for order of operations. The third step of the Boots formula is finding the order of operations. When you're in a rock bottom moment, there are certain steps you know you need to take to get out of it, and you need to complete those steps in a certain order, which will be different depending on what you're going through. Throughout the book, I'll show you these steps in other specific rock bottom situations. As you learn the steps for yourself, you'll become adept at facing any other rock bottom you may find yourself in. In the military, they train people to focus on one thing, find and execute the solution, then move on to the next thing and the next. If you complete tasks on the battlefield in the wrong order, you're not going to win. If you do steps in the wrong order in math, you're not going to get the solution. In algebra, you must follow an ordered set of actions to solve for x. and one step cannot be done without doing the prior calculations. The same is true here. It's very important to order your steps and then complete them in that order. Consider this step your boots camp, a battle plan for accomplishing things in a certain order so the magic happens. Each step may take a bit of time, and there will be days when you feel as if nothing has transpired and you've seen absolutely no change. There's lag time while you're completing small tasks, organizing, setting things up, or whatever your steps may be. If you're trying to lose weight, you may think, I've been working on this diet for a month now. Why can't I get into these size 2 jeans? What the hell? Then, all of a sudden, if you're really clear on the goal and you're following the path with your order of operations, all the lag time catches up, you reach equilibrium between effort and results, and then boom, you're going downhill. It gets easier. You start to see results at a rapid pace. There's less to do, less chaos and stress, and you have some free time. As you get started figuring out the order of operations, it's important to know that everything is not going to happen on the very first day you apply it. It took you a while to get into the mess, so it may take time to get out. Once you start to follow the order of operations and you do the work, however, the universal law of momentum takes over and most people arrive at their desired outcome ahead of the expected time. Now, you're ready to write out important strategy steps that will help you, slowly at first, start taking small action steps each day toward your desired new outcome. And after you complete this strategy session, you will start on the journey to designing the life you choose. T is for thinking. The fourth step of the Boots formula is thinking. If you recall your thinking at the most successful points in your life, it's probably vastly different from your thinking when a crisis brings you to a rock-bottom situation. Often, at the toughest times, our thinking goes to survival. We lose sight of the possibilities and opportunities that are before us. This is where thinking comes into play. It's vital to have a strong mindset in order to keep our boots on and walk out of a rough spot in life. Thinking leads you to a clear vision of where you want to go on that map of your desired outcome. You've made the decision that you're going to New York. Your bags are packed, you have an idea of how you're going to get there. You know the steps you need to take, though you may not know how the hell you're going to take them all. But you've made up your mind. That's where you're going. Tony Robbins often says, it's in the moment of decision that one's destiny is shaped. That decision is the thought that comes before the action steps required to reach your new goal. Everything happens in this step, in that decision. You can see it, feel it, embody it. Things start to show up because you're looking for them and you're open to them. You'll start getting the results you want just because that decision is in your mind. It becomes that real to you. Once you have that clear vision in your mind, you have to see yourself as if you already are living in your desired reality. You're just doing the steps to get there. S is for stepping up. The fifth and final step of the Boots formula is a literal step, stepping up. You've gone through the first 4 steps. You've decided how you're going to show up. You have a picture of where you're going. You know the steps you need to take, and you've made the decision to actually do something. It would be nice if you could just sit, think, and meditate your desired outcome into being. But that's not the way it works. There is some validity to the idea of manifesting what you want, but at the same time, you have to believe enough to actually go out there and take the risk. You have to overcome your fear of giving your first presentation, making your first speech, or writing your first book. You have to get out of your comfort zone and you have to take those steps. S is for stepping up by taking the personal responsibility required for a real reboot. While the B in Boots is about being in the present with who you are in the situation, S is for taking those steps toward the future you want. Although there will be many times in life where we have little or no true personal responsibility for an event that alters our lives, it is always a gift to own your own response and reactions to situations. What can you do to shift the energy and step up to your part in the situation? In order to reboot, one must be willing to step into action. This last step ties back to the first one. It all comes back to being. How are you going to be when you're going through this? Sometimes it's ugly, dirty, not pretty, and certainly not fun. Nobody's going to help you move, so you have to pack all the boxes yourself. Procrastinating isn't going to help. You just have to take those action steps you defined in the order of operations. When you first start, it's overwhelming because you feel like you're still buried in the situation. Chaos is all around. But because you've done the first 4 steps of Boots, you have an action plan. You're not doing 1,000 steps today. You just have to take 1. You do the things that you mapped out one by one, and that helps you see, okay, I can do that. You have clarity on the action steps, so now it's time to actually get moving. Are you ready to strap on your boots and start walking? From rock bottom to moment of empowerment. You may be thinking, okay, now I know the formula, but what does it look like in action? Great question. Let's look at the rock bottom moment I told you about at the beginning of the chapter to see how I applied the Boots formula to get back into right action. After the fire, after my cat ran away, and after my car was totaled, I was in a funk for a week and a half or 2 weeks before I even noticed. I don't know if it was shock or depression or overwhelm. Probably all of that. It was a lot of loss in a short period of time. But then I had to go back to work, and I needed a way to get there. Being. For that first week or 2, I was being a victim. I grieved the cat, the car I had recently bought in cash and was very proud of, my house, and the whole lifestyle I had just rebuilt after the divorce, another loss that I had recently overcome. All my beautiful, most favorite things were in that house, and I lost them all. I was also grieving over the plan to have one of my children move back in with me while she went to college. She'd already been having second thoughts, but she didn't want to tell me and risk hurting my feelings. When I ended up in the tiny house in the hills, we both realized it wasn't going to happen. It felt like a really shitty place to end up. I wondered, how the hell did I get here in just a 5-day period? As I was going through my own rock bottom situations, I had to ask, who do I need to be? I had to own my little strength as well as my many weaknesses. I had to be vulnerable enough to admit those weaknesses in order to use my strengths to help me through. I had to own my truth, own myself, and trust that I was going to do the steps to get out of this rock bottom. I also had to take care of myself. I had a good reason to have a pity party, but I had even better reasons to get out of that funk and start asking, what can I do? When I was showing up with an active mindset instead of the pity party, it made a big difference. Orientation. Evacuating from the fire and the immediate aftermath was a terrible situation. I could have blamed the fire. After all, I lost almost everything. But that would have meant giving power to that fire and giving up my own power over the situation. Blaming somebody or something else put you in the victim role. And I didn't want to be a victim. I didn't want to sit there and feel powerless. I wasn't in control of the fire itself, but I was in control of my reaction to it. I was in control of how I decided to wake up in the morning and what I decided to do with each day, how I wanted to move forward. After the fire, I had to do a big assessment to see where I was financially and to recognize that emotionally, I was down the hill. I was shocked and depressed. A lot of my friends had lost their homes too, and the fires were still burning. Everybody in the entire community was suffering. We were all affected, somber behind our respirator masks. Schools and businesses were closed, so children stayed home with their parents, who couldn't go to work anyway. People who had lost their homes were relocated to emergency shelters. It was very devastating. I felt for everyone around me, but I was in the middle of it too. To orient myself, I had to ask, what are my options? What are my resources? Who can help me? What can I do to help other people? Then I had to say, wow, I have to use that boot to kick myself out of this. Order of operations. It was during this stage of the process that I realized I had to use every single resource that I had. I had to go through boxes of stuff I rescued from the fire. I had to pay bills and file my insurance claim. I got a beat-up Nissan, really old and funky, that barely ran. The windows rolled down using a hand crank, and you had to lock the doors manually. Nothing was automatic at all. It needed a ton of maintenance, but it just wasn't worth putting money into it. I had to take the car up and down a canyon road, though, so I paid to fix the brakes and steering. While I was waiting for the mechanic to finish, I went and bought a fancy steering wheel cover and a bunch of motivational stickers that I plastered all over the inside of the car. I had it waxed and cleaned and made it the best damn beater car you could drive. I was going to rough it in style. That was when I started to get out of my funk a little. I knew that I had to focus on the positive, not think about what I had lost, and look instead at what I was going toward. I couldn't make it down the hill to the gym to work out until the car was fixed, so I got out my old rebounder trampoline and said affirmations while I worked out, which you'll learn about in the exercise at the end of this chapter. The neighbors thought I was crazy. I let other people who had lost their homes stay in the other units of my home rental, helping people who were just as bad off as I was, but who didn't have a mobile home to go to. I made space by shifting through the things I had rescued and donating anything I didn't absolutely need to other people who needed them more than I did. I felt better helping people than I did sitting around in my pity party. I couldn't get stuck blaming the fire for all my problems. There was nothing I could do to change what had happened. All I could do was figure out how to move forward and up-level by figuring out how to help other people who were affected and even worse off than I was. Just the act of getting up and doing something, being able to contribute and be involved, was empowering. Thinking. I had to have the thoughts, the vision of what life could look like. It was a lot of mind over matter. Anytime it got to be too much, thinking about my loss, I said, "That's silly. I don't have time for that." I don't mean to sound like I was always cheerful. I just kept laser focused only on what I could be grateful for. I was alive. I had a roof over my head and a car to drive. My family was safe. I was still devastated at the loss of my home, my car, my cat, the opportunity to live with my daughter. It wasn't easy for me, but I had a tested formula to follow that got me through it, because this was not my first rock bottom. I also realized that the strange delays I encountered that day were protecting me. I could have been at home, asleep, while houses burned around me. Instead, I was kept safe. Remember all those soul reroutes that took me off my regular schedule? They were a gift. Staying focused on the positive
helped me continue to look for the blessing, the gift, the good part of a bad situation. I put everything I had into this because I had to get out of it. And eventually, I did. How I showed up then determined what my life continues to look like. Now I'm closing escrow on a beautiful house and a wonderful community, writing this book and helping thousands of people through my consulting and online programs. A lot can happen in a short period of time, but whether that's a positive or negative has so much to do with your mindset. I could still be up there in that cabin complaining about that fire and wondering where my other shoe ended up. Instead, I took action, determined the steps I needed to take, and eventually went out and bought new shoes. Stepping up. You can't show up in a beater car to show clients around potential homes, so I had to rent a car for my real estate business. That was just one more expense. When one of the rental cars I was driving broke down, I had to reschedule my appointment with my real estate clients. As I was waiting for the tow truck, I got an email from Hyundai saying to come test drive a car and they'd give me a $40 Visa card. I thought, well, the worst that could happen would be getting an extra $40 to put toward all my expenses. When I got to the lot, among all the Hyundais, I saw one white Mercedes, exactly the rental car I had driven the weekend before for a dear client and friend. It felt good. That car would be perfect for all the driving I did as a real estate agent. I took the money I'd set aside to repair the clunker car and used it as a down payment. Because the dealership was in an area that didn't sell a lot of Mercedes, they let me have it for well under the blue book price. The car was pre-owned with a good number of miles, but it was a huge blessing to me. After I bought it, they sent someone out to show me how to use all the buttons. That man looked exactly like my father, who had passed away. As I drove away, I knew I had gotten a little help from Dad and said a silent thank you to him. Opportunities and solutions show up when you're open to them. You have to have faith, confidence, and a willingness to step up. You can do this. Every pair of boots is different, but you can always find a pair that fits you. Similarly, every rock bottom situation is different, but you can find your own way of applying the Boots formula to fit your needs. You can do this. You now have a formula to follow on your own terms. Each chapter of the rest of the book covers one specific rock bottom situation. You can jump to the one you really need right now, but come back and do the work so that the rock bottom moment you're feeling right now turns into a beautiful life shift. Activity to reboot. Mantra for being. When I found myself in the rock bottom situation I told you about in this chapter, having lost everything in a fire and jumping on a rebounder for 10 minutes at a time, I didn't have anyone else to lean on. I didn't have someone to guide me out of that funky place. I had to talk myself through the situation, and I did that through affirmations. Saying affirmations is proclaiming, declaring, or stating something as a fact. It could be something that hasn't happened yet or something you know but haven't lived into fully. When we say these affirmations, our subconscious mind starts to believe them and helps us to live more into having those things actually show up in our lives. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. By repeating affirmations, you reprogram your mind to focus and affirm the things you want to show up in your life. You're empowering yourself to do what needs to be done. Everybody has ups and downs, and if you're going to try to do a lot of new things, you're going to fall a lot. When you use positive affirmations, you're able to get back up and keep going. It doesn't matter what other people tell us. All that matters is what we're telling ourselves now. because that's going to produce the results that we want. To get started, you can say these affirmations when you first get up. Have them on your phone or on a card by your bed. Try saying them when you're getting ready for your day or while you're having breakfast, coffee, or tea. Then say them again before you go to bed. When you run into an obstacle or naysayer, get out your affirmations and read them again. Instead of letting that negativity into your mind, put your own positive words in. Here are some sample affirmations that you can use to get started. Feel free to adapt them to your own situation. Rewrite them to fit wherever you are in your life right now, or write your own original affirmations. In all I choose to be doing, it is who I am being that will make all the difference. Every day, in every way, life is guiding me to better and better places. As I find the gift in all that is around me, more and more blessings unfold. I am a lifetime learner and a wisdom earner. I am honoring this day and all the good in it in every way. Today, I am proud of these 3 accomplishments. 1, 2, and 3. List your accomplishments. I knew that I had to apply affirmations. As I did, more and more good things started showing up. First, I thought, wow, that's an interesting coincidence. How serendipitous. But when it kept happening more and more, all I could think was, I'm not giving this up. Saying affirmations is one action step you can take immediately. Another is meditating. As soon as I wake up and before I go to sleep, I meditate. You may already have a solid meditation or prayer practice in place. Going through a tough spot is the best time to stay consistent in your practice. Even if you feel like you don't have the time, setting aside even a few minutes will help carry you through the boots process, reduce stress, and give your mind and body the gift of resting from the situation at hand.
All right, we are now back. This is the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and today is Thanksgiving Day. I am wishing you all a happy Thanksgiving, giving thanks to all the listeners and to all my beautiful, authentic family and friends. Today is another special day, at least for me. Today is my birthday, and we won't say what number it is. I stopped counting a little bit after 20. So with that, I am giving away, donating gift for gift. So any book or course that people purchase on my website at www.sheilamac.com, I will be donating a book or course, depending on what's purchased, to women in shelters across the United States and in Canada. So that is what I'm doing this birthday year, and I will be continuing that program until December 31st. So with that being said, I would love to share a Dear Sheila, because today is Thanksgiving and you may be having interesting Thanksgiving holidays. One of the situations that comes up a lot for people that maybe have been divorced and have children is dealing with a parent that may be somewhat narcissistic or not truly aligned. And so I had a Dear Sheila that was sent to me about this topic. So take a listen. After years of existing in a marriage with a narcissist, I was finally able to get him to agree to a divorce. The complication is that we have 2 beautiful children. While my kids love their dad, he is using them to get back at me. Each court-ordered visit is a complete disruption and violation to my life. Yet I am mom first. Fueling his narcissistic tendencies of constant lying, gaslighting, and love bombing, my kids now have to deal with his ways.
Even though he doesn't like spending time with them, the fact that it hurts me fuels his obsession. He returns late from weekend visits, and he is constantly breaking legal orders. My question is, how can I rebuild my life, parent my children, and not get caught up with the drama king who uses my kids as pawn? Dear Mom First, this is definitely the time for rebooting and reinventing your family life on your terms. Often in the case of having to start over as a single mom with a difficult ex, it requires firm boundaries. The fact that you were able to draw the line in the sand to get your children to live in your home is a huge accomplishment. Don't let your ex's negative energy into your new home or life. One of the most healing things for a person who is in a codependent and narcissistic relationship to do is to practice self-love and positive self-care. So as you walk through this process, make sure to schedule time for healing and self-love. Let's run this situation through the Boots formula. Throughout life, one can find themselves facing a difficult situation that often catches them by surprise. Over the years, I saw the patterns in all the times I've had to reboot and in how I've helped my friends and clients get through a hard time and quickly back into action. Ultimately, I came up with the Boots formula. The B in the Boots formula is for being. It's about who you are being in all you are doing and who you need to be during this situation. You are going to have to be different with how you show up around your ex while staying positive. Work with your attorney, family, or friends who can help you negotiate an arm's length drop off and pick up. You may need to go low contact until the children are grown, yet this is still your right. You must be strong enough not to react or feed into your ex's prompts to push every button. A true narcissist will do anything to trigger you, yet they also get very bored if you show no emotions. The first O in the Boots formula is for orientation. In order to get the outcomes you desire, you must be honest here. What are the situations that you absolutely must be subjected to with your ex? Is there a regular trigger that you can completely avoid? Make a list of all the times and ways you can keep your children safe, follow court orders, and set new standards for how you will be treated and act around your ex when it is absolutely required. The next O in the Boots formula is for order of operations. Now that you know who you are to be and your orientation, you can decide in which order you must do things. Your children will discover what their dad is like, and your main job is to speak only kind words, follow court orders, and rebuild boundaries in your own life. As you set these healthy boundaries, your children will also learn how to set healthier boundaries at school and in home. In the long run, the order in which you do these things is really going to drive your results. The T in the Boots formula is for thinking. This is where your mindset comes in. Stop waiting for the perfect new relationship or when the kids are grown before you are happier. When you are with your children, they will feel this energy. How you show up emotionally will be your best model for how your children, will respond when their dad does things that are off. The S in the Boots formula is for stepping up. As you set these boundaries, you will start being attracted to and attract healthy friends, coworkers, and relationships that are aligned to your core values, life purpose, and vision now. These steps set you and your family life back into action. The time is now for us to collectively work together to rebuild. My hope is that this video series and my new book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, helps.
And this is the Sheila Mac Show, and I am your host, Sheila Mac. It is my birthday, so yes, you did hear birthday music on Thanksgiving Day, and I am giving thanks for being born and for every one of my beautiful, authentic friends and listeners out there. So with that, and because we are getting ready for Black Friday sales as well, I have a special offer. Grab a copy of my latest best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And along with the book, you will receive 12 free chapter gifts as you learn to reboot life on your terms. So here is some of the gifts that you'll be receiving with the book. The first one is free chapter bonus of the Boots Meditation audio video program. You'll also get a second gift, free chapter bonus on bereavement recovery. This is an ebook to help you or anybody you know that may be going through the grieving process. This is a very sacred process, and hopefully you'll never need it, but if you do, this is also a good one for pets. If you have a pet, we have a special booklet for pets if you've lost a pet recently. Next one, chapter 4, there is freedom from abuse. This is an ebook to help people get away and out of any type of abusive situations, learning to set new boundaries, actually getting help if they really need it. It includes a list of additional resources. Now, number 5, your next gift is Money Reboot book and video series. Next, you will get 6, free chapter bonus, Careers, Finding Your Heart Work Assessment. Along with chapter 7, you will get the guide to elder care, downsizing to up-level life. At a certain point in life, it may be better to downsize and go have more fun. So that's a guidebook to all things elder care. Next, you have a bonus of the addiction-free guidebook and video series. And next, number 9, ninth gift is the 28-day guided affirmations and meditations audio program. Number 10, 10th gift is access to Ask Sheila questions directly at Dear Sheila. And then next gift, 11, is Introduction to the Boots Formula mini course. And the 12th gift, like the 12 days of Christmas, but this is the 12th gift in the Boots book, is a chance to win an interview on this show. Right now, I'm going to give you a short read from the book, just a little part of the introduction. Take a listen. Hitting rock bottom can take you by surprise. It's like you're getting cooked alive and you don't even feel the heat until you look down and you see that you're in hot water. Life was going great, and then the shift hit the fan. A surprise rock bottom event hit you hard. Maybe you were fired unexpectedly. Maybe you were facing the sudden death of a loved one. You may be going through a divorce that caught you off guard. Whatever your personal rock bottom situation, you weren't prepared for it to happen, at least not now. Maybe in 20 years, but it certainly wasn't supposed to happen today. A few aligned choices led you down the wrong road. All of a sudden, you look around and think, wait a minute, what happened in my life? And how the hell did I get to this point? And now you feel lost, scared, and alone. How are you going to handle this? Turning the page. On the one hand, you may not want to burden other people, even your friends, with what's going on. So you paint a happier picture than your current reality. You're afraid to reach out and say, I'm drowning here. Can you help me? I don't know what to do. On the other hand, you're not sure what your opinions are or your options. So you turn to your friends and family. You are going to hear so many opinions. But just because it sounds like a great idea coming from someone else doesn't mean it aligns with your soul. Your mom, sister, friends, or Aunt Betty may have a prescription for how you should get through this, but if it doesn't feel right to you, it doesn't matter. You may not have the resources you need to make it through this situation. If you haven't walked down this road before, you may not be sure what steps you need to take, so you feel overwhelmed, in addition to the roller coaster of other emotions you're going through. To make matters even worse, you're not sleeping much. You're up all night with insomnia. There isn't time to socialize. Your wellness routine has slowed or stopped. You couldn't even take a walk today because one more urgent thing came up and you had to solve it right now. You're exhausted. You're in survival mode. Your decision about what to do and not do is going to not be so sound because you're coming from a very tired, cranky place. Let me be clear on this. This is an emergency. And now you need to be resuscitated. You need a guide to show you how to get through a situation like this, to give you resources and to help you get out of the emotional pea soup fog of dealing with a crisis and the resulting fallout. I've been there and I'm here to help you. Out of the fog. If you weren't emotionally bound up in your situation, you would have more clarity. You would be able to see your best options for dealing with whatever comes up. If the version of yourself who has already walked through this rock bottom and come out the other side could go back in time and give you, the you right now, some advice, what would she or he say? What would she tell you? Would she say, slow down, stop rushing? Would she tell you that you don't have to have all the answers today? Would future you recommend not making any major decisions without reviewing them first, particularly while you're still in the fog? Would she or he tell you that normal is going to look different for a while, but that you will feel normal again? In case we haven't invented time travel, by the time you read this book, I'm here to tell you all of the above. I developed the Boots formula to help you learn to make choices, have a life shift, and make great things happen based on your individual values and best life vision. A change is going to happen and it's worth it. There's a stage where it feels like everyone in your life is picking at you, and life itself may seem like it's trying its best to stop you from doing whatever you want to do. All you hear is, that's a stupid idea, and that's never going to work, and who do you think you are? One of the hardest things for people to do is to realign and possibly walk away from anything or anyone that conflicts with their value system. But you are going to discover that power within yourself. Through the activities and examples in this book, you will discover your true north and will be able to easily do what is needed to move forward with your life. Anything that hurts you, that doesn't resonate for you, that fights against what you believe in, you are going to give it the boot. Once you have turned your rock bottom moment into a positive, beautiful life shift, you can live your life on your terms. Your life will probably look different, but you get to design it this time. You are taking your life back, and you are in charge, not anyone else. Sooner than you can imagine, you will be in the career of your dreams, or the relationship you always wanted, because you are going to learn to develop healthy boundaries. You are going to do things differently along the way from here to there, and you will begin to attract the people, the job, the place to live, all of the opportunities that align with who you are, your essence, your truth, not anybody else's or even society's expectations of the way you're supposed to be. Once you have accepted that you are in charge of living your life and you begin to embody living your truth, people are going to see you. They're going to be inspired by you. Then you're going to hear, hey, can you show me how to do that? I want to do it too. When you assess your peer group and up-level according to your life purpose and vision, and once you've created a life shift for yourself, whatever that looks like, your life is not just full, it's fulfilled. Not only do you get more and better sleep, you will wake up rested and happy. You know that you're doing what you need to do. Yes, sometimes your heart will call you to leave certain friends or family members in order to find a more aligned peer group. From what I have seen, however, the ones who leave always return to lead their family and friends to success. Because your friends are more in alignment with your beliefs and value systems, they support you while also pushing you toward your personal best. Life still involves work, but as a whole, it feels far more effortless. But you don't have to wait for the right person, right job, or right investment opportunity to show up. You can start living now so that every moment as you go forward through the process of recovering from rock bottom and redesigning your life, It is one more step to being that best version of you, the one who came back to guide you now. You are going to walk out of your tough spot one small step at a time, and that's what this book is going to help you with. Just to give you an overview of the contents, the introduction goes on a bit, and then we have overview of the Boots formula. Chapter 2 is feel your feelings, getting through any type of grief. This year, we've had a lot of things to grieve over. It's not just the loss of a loved one. Sometimes we can grieve over the loss of a job, change in a business, loss of a relationship. So there's a whole chapter on getting through that grieving process. And next is chapter 3, shift or get off the pot. This is about relationships, how to realign your relationships. Chapter 4, the many masks of abuse. This speaks of abuse, hidden abuse, abuse going on in your home, maybe in the workplace, abuse to be aware about for family and friends, what to look for. Chapter 5 goes into money matters finance. And this gets into how to get debt-free, how to realign your finances to align with your value system and what you want most for success in your life. Chapter 6 is working hard for the money careers. This is where we work on finding your heart center and bringing your talents, all of your talents, to your career. Chapter 7 is You Will Always Be My Baby, parenting teenage and adult children. Chapter 8 is parenting your parents, elder care. Chapter 9 is breaking the cycles of addiction. Whatever your addiction is, give it the Boots formula and give that addiction the boot. This is also a helpful chapter if you have a family, friend, or loved one that is struggling with an addiction and you would like to help them. Chapter 10 is self-care and spirituality. This is all on your terms. Chapter 11 is my favorite chapter. As you walk through and learn to use the Boots formula, Chapter 11 is lifestyle design, and this is where you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your life now on your terms. All right, and then the book continues with a directory of resources, and then if you go online you get even more resources. Each chapter does have that free gift for you as well, so grab a copy today. It is at www.sheilamac.com, also available on Audible, Amazon, Kindle. All right, now here we go. Thank you again for listening, and happy Thanksgiving. Grab your book with all the free gifts for the Black Friday sale, and also check out the website. As I mentioned, each chapter has a topic of a rock bottom situation that could happen in somebody's life or business and how to get back on track. And through the book, you learn how to apply the Boots formula to that situation. So it's a very helpful guidebook. And along with that, I also have relatable courses. And these courses are live courses taught by me as a guide. And we have small groups that get together for a monthly, it's a weekly course, and it's every month. So you can do this course. The beginning of a new month is coming up. Sign up for the course that you need the most right now. Maybe you're going through a divorce or need help with relationships. You're looking for help getting addiction free. Whatever the case may be that you're looking for, check out the courses online and see if there is something available for you. There is a Black Friday going into Christmas sale, and that is only for a few days that the courses will be on a special sale price offer. So grab your courses today. All right. And thank you again for listening. As always, I wish you life, love, laughter, and light.